Hello and welcome to Crucible of Worlds for more dedicated legacy action. Today, at the request of many people on my channel, I am going to be playing some lands. Now, lands has always been a deck that I've been quite fond of. I used to play it back in the day when I still had my Tabernacle and stuff and my Mox Diamonds, but buying them back feels like a bit of a pipe dream now. But anyway, this deck tries to leverage all the amazing lands you get in Legacy for either win conditions, things like Dark Depths and Thespian Stage is a really powerful win condition that we can rebuy over and over again with Loams and Crucibles. And we also have Urza Saga, which is another potent win condition. We can just keep rattling these off again and again until our opponent dies. So we've got those powerful win conditions alongside some really strong control elements. So we've got 4 Wastelands, a couple of Rishadan Ports, and a Ghost Quarter. So we can Ghost Quarter all of our opponent's lands until they have nothing left, using either Crucible or Life from the Loam, which is obviously pretty annoying. And when we combine that with something like a Sphere of Resistance, we can just lock our opponents out of the game and just have no way of losing a game at that point. We've got some nice little silver bullet lands we can find, things like Tabernacle, nice ball control tool, especially when we're Wasteland our opponent, Bojuka Bog for graveyards, Karakas for legendary creatures, Blast Zone can sweep up some really annoying permanents that we need to deal with. Got a little Urza Saga package here, couple of Swords of Plowshares as well, a bit of removal. This is kind of what a standard lands build looks like these days. Sort of the days of like punishing fire type things, which is still fine. Some people still play it, but I think the stock list is more towards the Sphere of Resistance, where we've got a couple of Ancient Tombs and 4 Mox Diamonds. So we've got 6 ways of maybe making turn 1 Sphere. And this also gives us a bit more game against control deck. This was combo deck, sorry. This is the card that you used to have in your sideboard back in the day to bring in versus combo decks, but now we can just run a main deck and it feels like the right thing to do. I think Urza Saga was obviously the biggest upgrade that lands had for a very long time, and it's kind of changed the way the deck runs. We can basically play like an aggro deck in a lot of ways, just slamming down Sagas and activating them on turn 2. But yeah, we got a bunch of lands, we're going to do some cool stuff. The one thing about lands that a lot of people don't realise is the mana base for lands, the actual lands that are casting your spells, is kind of a little bit shaky sometimes, right? So you've got 1 Forest, 1 Boseiju, a Horizon Canopy, a couple of Savannahs, and then 2 Fetchers and 2 Yavimayas. That and the Mox Diamonds is basically like our green sources, which isn't the most, but we can run without really casting many spells, and obviously Sphere of Resistance being colourless is really helpful too. Alright, that's the deck. Quick chat about sideboard. Blowing up enchantments like Blood Moon. Blowing up annoying artifact permanents too. Artifact decks, storm decks, let's smash them down with a Null Rod. If you're playing islands, we're going to be choking you out. If you've got graveyard stuff, we're going to be extracting you. If you've got creatures we need to kill, we'll be playing swords. And if we need to grind in some matchups where our graveyard might be under threat, we can board in this Sylvan Library as another engine. That's pretty much it. That's the deck. This one... Whenever you play lands, you never know if it's going to be a long league or a short league, because the deck can just wallop people or can get in these really long grindy games. So it's always fascinating to see how it pans out. Anyway, remember to like and subscribe, and let's get into playing some lands. If you're looking to play Legacy on MTGO like me, why not try Card Hoarder? They're a rental service that I personally use, and I found them better than other rental services that I've used in the past. So why not give them a try? Alright, our opening hand makes a turn 3 2020. Kind of my jam, isn't it? So I guess we'll keep this. You can always pivot into a plow if necessary. Turn Timber Symbiosis. Alright, this is going to be... It's probably going to be... Oops, all spells. What does that mean for us? I think we just play out the Yavimaya. We lose the ability to plow, but I don't think that's going to be that important. I think we just want to get towards being able to make a 2020 end the game and hope that our opponent has to have a couple of draws to get there. So we can Boseiju their land next turn if we don't die this turn, and then we can try and Dark Depths a turn after. So we need to not die this turn to what our opponent's doing. Basically, any deck's running Turn Timber Symbiosis is not going to be a fair deck. It's quite likely to be Oops, or it could be some sort of Belcher variant. Another Turn Timber Symbiosis. This one is tapped, which means they're probably not killing us this turn, which is good news for us. Exploration. How does that change things? If we play out this exploration now, then we get to play out another land, and we can still Boseiju. Seems acceptable. I don't want to show our opponent we've got the Dark Depths just yet. Because if they see that, they know they'll have to try and do something. So if they are some sort of Belcher deck and they've got a non-deterministic line, they might go for it. So we'll play out our Windswept Heath. We can tap this for green mana because of our thing. So I think... Do we just go and get ourselves... Yeah, I think we'll go and get ourselves a Savannah here. And then we will get rid of this Turn Timber Grove. And hope this does enough to stop our opponent from beating us. Academe, untapped. Okay, we're almost certainly dead here. Unless they have a line where they play the guy and then they activate it next turn. Alright, no, they're just doing the whole thing. So we get to see the whole deck here. If you're unfamiliar with this deck, they mill their whole library so they don't have any lands. So this doesn't hit any lands. So they just lose their whole deck into the bin. And then they get some Narcomoebas out. We're just going to have a look and see if there's anything unusual in their build. Gilded Goose. That is unusual. 1 pack, 2 pack, 3 packs, 4 packs. Alright. Not a great matchup for the old lands player. Null Rod does things here. Source Plowshares doesn't do anything here. Sage Extraction does some useful things here. We have to work out what goes away. This probably isn't one where we need a Blast Zone in our deck. I doubt we're going to need a Tabernacle either. Maze of Ith doesn't really do very much here. And then we have to decide if we want any Force of Vigors. I don't think we do. Our opponent's probably not going to play out their mana. But maybe they have to because of Spheres. No, I think we just go... Shadowspear is probably not relevant here either, actually. So Force of Vigor instead of a Shadowspear. Pithing Needle and Saga Lantern have definitely got text though. Alright, like the mana denial plan here is good if they have to pass the turn. What does our hand do? Alright, this works. We can keep this. We've got a lot of ways of interfering with our opponent's combo. So we're going to play out our forest, play out our Soul Guide Lantern, and shut their graveyard down that way. And we also have the Surgical Extraction on top of it. And if that's not enough, we also have a crop rotation. Soul Guide Lantern doesn't target the player, so things like Leyline of Sanctity won't make a difference. And Surgical Extraction only targets cards in graveyard, not players. So again, a Leyline won't do anything. I don't think our opponent's got Leyline unless they're worried about Bojuka Bog a lot. But let's see. Let's go for a Soul Guide Lantern. So they have to answer this before they can win the game. Unless they go for like a beatdown plan, but we should be able to beat any sort of plan where they're just making 2/3s and turn them sideways. Right, we're going to clean up, discard an Narcomoeba. A Sphere of Resistance, you say. This should be a pretty big nail in the coffin for what our opponent's trying to do here. Does shut off our Surgical Extraction for this turn, but I do not believe they can win through this Sphere. If they play a land, we can Wasteland it. A Chrome Mox. Pitching a black card. Not unexpected. And then they're playing a Lotus Petal as well. A Null Rod would be an interesting draw here. A Rishadan Port. It's not really going to do the work for us there, is it? If we want to hold up any of these, we can't really do things. So I think we're just going to hold up a crop rotation for maybe Bojuka Bog, but most likely just to go and get an Urza Saga so we can try and win this game. Urza Saga, I'll start cooking. Alright, our opponent's had enough. We've presented a win condition, we've locked them out of the game. We've got a Wasteland if they have a land, so... Alright. They didn't see our Surgical Extraction, which is nice, so maybe we can get them with that. I don't think we want to bring in another Force of Will. Force of Vigor. I would love to have just a green Force of Will, but that's not the world we live in. Which is probably a good thing. Our hand is good if we get a turn. Do I believe we're going to get a turn? I don't think we can keep this. I think we have to have a Surgical in our opener. Like a single Thoughtseize also takes us off that thing, alright? We're both chasing the dragon here. Let's see if we can find it. So our opponent going to go to 4. If they go to 4, we could keep this. Just trying to think what 4-card hand. So it'd be like land, Dark Ritual, something else, and the guy. Do I keep this for a turn 2, for a turn 1 Sphere? Or do I fish for a Surgical? They're on 5 cards. Alright. Then we get rid of one of these. And probably a Savannah will keep the Pithing Needle in case they want to make their guy and pass, but they could just kill us here. Maybe we're supposed to fish for the surgical there. Alright, they're playing it tapped. It's pretty good for us. We found a surgical as well. So this sphere resistance, they can't force a vigor at this turn unless they have a spirit guide. And if they do that, then they don't have a lot of cards left in their hand. Right, black is the most important colour for them, so we're just going to say no to their land here. I think I will cast this on Undercity Informer. That shuts down one of their potential lines. And then we can just start Urza Saga in. That should be enough to win this game. Am I going to play out this? I guess we can play out the expedition map just to pump our guy here. We can still do one surgical extraction underneath our own sphere. Which just means that our Urza Saga will end the game quicker, so our opponent gets less draw steps to get out of the situation they're in. Foundation Breaker is a thing they could also be looking for. A Lion's Eye Diamond. You can cast your Lion's Eye Diamond. That is an unusual one. That makes me think they pivoted into a Belcher kill here. Alright, they're not doing anything on the turn. We will make a large creature. We will make another large creature. We'll go and get ourselves a Saga Lantern. Exile land. So Pithing Needle on Belcher would have been better here, but we obviously didn't know that at the time. We can't play this Mox Diamond, we haven't got any lands for it. So this is, if we find one more artifact, so if we find a land, we can win the game next turn. I think the chances of us losing this game are, actually no, we have the game right because we just get a land off of our expedition map. Oh wait, no, that's not true because we go -1 just to get one. Okay, we're just going to put our opponent to 2 and they've had enough. Alright, yeah, Spheres kind of got us there. Our opponent did mulligan quite a lot. Obviously, the Uxal Spells deck does mulligan a lot, but it certainly helped us out. Alright, on to round 2. Our hand is relying on our Life from the Loam doing something, but that's honestly not a terrible place to be. We'll keep this. We can shut down creatures quite effectively here. Utopia Sprawl. We're on Enchantress over there. That's an interesting one. Dark Depths. Interesting. Let's play our Mox Diamond. Let's pitch this Dark Depths. Let's play a land. Let's play an exploration. Let's play a land. Let's play an exploration. Let's play a land. Let's Life from the Loam back. So we played our entire hand on turn 1. But now we are just trying to Life from the Loam our way into victory here. Before our opponent can spam a load of permanents, which is what the deck's kind of designed to do. Green Sun's there for 2. Is this going to get a Collector Roof? No, it's just going to get an Enchantress. That's fair. We will be dredging this. We can draw 3 cards instead of 1. Or we can draw no cards. That's always fun, isn't it? Okay. Play this out. Cast this with no targets. We just need to keep dredging. We can remove 3 counters from our Dark Depths if we don't have to use our Maze of Ith. We can't target their Enchantress, so we're unlikely to... what does this one do? This is enters the battlefield, draw a card. Land is every type. Okay. So it's fixing the cantrips. How in trouble are we going to be here? Like, we can't just let them do their thing. If we had drawn one of those crop rotations instead, we'd have been in a better place. But obviously we didn't know that they were on top of our library. And again, drawing 3 cards is just better than drawing 1. However, we do 0 cards instead, which is obviously worse. But that's just one of the things that can happen sometimes. Our opponent's got a lot of thing. I wouldn't mind finding a blast zone. That would be real good. Alright, come on, Life from the Loam. Find us blast zone. Let's take this Loam. Found a Wasteland that doesn't have any targets. Alright. The classic struggle. Our opponent does need to show us a win condition, but there's certainly a lot of ones they could rustle up here. They've got many manas. Another Enchantress, yep. So they have the ability to draw basically all the cards they could ever want here. An Abundant Growth. All their lands, tap for all the colours. On Thin Ice. This is just to draw 2 cards, but 1 mana, draw 2 cards feels pretty good. Alright, Destiny Spinner. This will be able to end the game. in the not too distant future. Alright. Our opponent is drawing so many cards that they're having to discard 3 cards at the end of their turn 4. Yikes. Blast Zone kind of gets us out of this for now, but they then rebuild. Oh my god, these have been the worst dredges. Do we even have any lands on our deck? We have another Life from Loam in our graveyard, so we don't need to fire this one off. We can just dredge the next one. Alright, so how much mana do they make here? Oh, a lot. So we can't wasteland this before they get to... Okay, so now we can do this and shrink the amount of mana they get here. So if we wait till the Wild Growth resolves, they get +1 mana here. Now this should be pretty good to beat us anyway. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. They've currently got 9 enchantments and a whole bunch of mana going. Elephant Grass, sure. All the 1 mana enchantments. On Thin Ice. They've got 10 mana in their pool. So they can... This doesn't untap lands because that would be just a combo, wouldn't it? So they can attack, but we can maze it. This doesn't have Shroud, does it? No. They can activate both of them though, so one of them will be getting in here. Let's prevent some damage. Let's remove some counters while we're here. Just let them go for a turn. We're going to take a big smack of 6 to the face. Sorry, a big stack of 11 to the face. Puts us to 9. Alright, Life from Loam. Is this the time you do something good? Blast Zone. It is the time we do something good. Wasteland, Urza, Saga, Blast Zone. Yes, please. Play Blast Zone. Play Urza, Saga. Play Wasteland. Activate Blast Zone. So that's going to blow up all of these. It does blow up our explorations, but that's blown up a lot of our opponent's permanents. That's going to really limit what they're able to do here. Right, they're just playing a Leyline Binding here. Oh, this is pretty neat tech. They've got the thing that gives it all types. So this is just a thing that their deck wants anyway, and it makes their Leyline Binding cost 1 mana. That's pretty cool tech. Maybe I'll play some Enchantress soon. I like what our opponent's doing. Drawing cards is the most fun you can have, right? Right, so now they have to start this all up again. I'm going to be drawing a bunch of cards. Right, so the creature's power and toughness is locked in when their Destiny Spinner resolves. So we would need to Blast Zone in response, if that's the thing we want to do. We don't have quite enough mana right now to activate the Destiny Spinner. We can get a Pithing Needle for Destiny Spinner if we can survive this turn and our opponent's next turn. Alright. Yep. They've only got 13 cards left in their deck. So the Argothian Enchantresses are not a May trigger. You have to draw the card. So there's a very real possibility our opponent could deck in this game. If we can keep them at bay long enough. What a weird game. A Tropical Island. That's interesting. I don't know what this card is. We're going to get rid of these triggers and then have a look. You may have Estra's Invocation enter the battlefield as a copy of an enchantment you control, except how at the beginning of your upkeep you may exile this enchantment. Okay, so it's any enchantment, but then also blinks every turn to become whatever enchantment you want it to be. Another Destiny Spinner. Right, so we're not getting attacked for damage this turn. We have a chump blocker, although these have trample, I believe, right? Trample and haste, yeah. Opponent's going to go to 9 cards. If they cast 5 spells, they lose from decking. We got a weird one. Lands versus Enchantress is like a proper blast from the past as well. Alright, Life from Loam. Right, so let's have Blast Zone, Thespian Stage, and Wooded Foothills, I guess. So we will tap our Cradle and our... We can make a 20/20 to block with. Is that better than Blast Zoning? Maybe it is. If we Blast Zone, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess they can make just loads of guys if we don't Blast Zone, right? Let's just send this now. Reduces their mana. Right. 10 cards left in our opponent's library. We're only on 9 life. But next turn we get to shut off the Destiny Spinner from our Pithing Needle off of the Urza Saga. Because we haven't milled that yet. So I think we're not supposed to dredge the Loam just in case we mill it. But we'll see how this turn goes because we might be dead anyway. Alright. We've got 5 enchantments. You've got Serra's Sanctum. 5, 6, 7. And they got enough to activate one more. So we stop 1 5/5 hit, that's the other, and we hit us exactly for 9, right? It was exactly lethal. Oh, no, it's not exactly lethal, right? It didn't attack with the other Destiny Spinner. Maybe, yeah, they didn't attack with the other Destiny Spinner. Yes, we're not supposed to... Oh, they have an Emrakul. Alright. We're not supposed to dredge the Loam here. Because you don't want to mill our Pithing Needle. Name Destiny Spinner. And we want to get back some lands. And then we can play our Thespian stage. Have a 20/20 and close the game next turn. Alright. Oh, what am I doing? We need to blow up this. Oh, I've made a horrible mistake. Actually, have I made a horrible mistake? No. We just need to get rid of this Serra's Sanctum. Should have done that on our turn. Because now they get some mana if they have any instants. They can't do anything with the Destiny Spinner, but they might be able to put in a Leyline Binding on the Pithing Needle, like this. And they get to activate a bunch of times. Although it is locked in at when they play it though, right? So these will just be 5/5s. So we do die here, I think. I think our opponent has us, right? If they attack with everything. So we can fog this, block this, and we take 2. So our opponent has got us there. Cool. Okay, first things first, let's smash 3 Force of Vigors into our deck. Other than that, it doesn't feel like much else is going to really work. I guess Sylvan Library is an engine we could use. I guess we do want to... I guess we want Plows for the Destiny Spinner, right? I'm not really sure how much these Spheres of Resistance are going to do, because once our opponent gets rolling a little bit, it's just lights out for us. We can definitely board out a Wasteland here. Yeah, I think this is going to be a slightly difficult match, really. We're already a game down, so... okay. This hand just needs us to draw a land, then we can kill our opponent. I will take that. Just get Savannah. Play Exploration. Play this. If we draw a land, I guess we need... trying to think. Wild Growth, yep. We can always Ghost Claw away our opponent's land if they stack one land really tall. Guess we are just life and loaning this back and playing out this land. We're probably going to save it for a crop rotation. A Wild Growth. So they're going tall on one land. Nylea's Presence. Alright, I think I'm going to Ghost Claw our opponent's land. Right, so Nylea's Presence no longer has a legal target, so it won't come into play, and they won't draw a card. Another Nylea's Presence, sure. I think we will dredge life from the Loam here. Right, let's get back. Ghost Quarter. Dark Depths. There's a Saga. Play out our Ghost Quarter. Play out our... There's a Saga here. Play our Mox Diamond so we at least have the green mana if we need to do an emergency crop rotation. And then we'll pass. So if they target a land, we can Ghost Quarter it. Just kind of their whole jam. Serra's Sanctum, though. I think Urza Saga tokens are going to be better than some of our other options anyway. So let's take out this Snow-Covered Forest. A Leyline Binding. See what it targets. Our Exploration. Alright, let's get back. Loam, Dark Depths and Savannah. Play Exploration. Let's play a Ghost Quarter. We're just going to try and rinse all of our opponent's resources this game. This is the grind I mentioned before. We've lost a Pithing Needle though. We'll make one little construct here, so we've just got something to be working with. And what does this want to get us? Another Mox Diamond. It's pretty good. Put off that Savannah. Then we'll have back our... We want to Ghost Quarter opponent first, don't we? Alright, let's take out their forest. Alright, Ghost Quarter. There's a Saga. Thespian stage. Green, green. Play out this Ghost Quarter. We'll play out this as a Saga. We actually have green mana for emergency crop rotation now. Need to be a little bit careful with our clock. So we intend to grind our opponent out. 4 mana for the 1 ring. Okay. That's pretty good. Yep, you keep drawing cards, opponent. We just keep Ghost Quartering you. Orim's Chant. Target player can't cast spells. Alright. I'll still dredge this. Play out my 2 lands. There's no point attacking our opponent here. I will pass a turn and we can make a 20/20 and a construct token for next turn. That's quite a lot of damages. Obviously 20 damage is a very high amount, but I don't expect it to do enough. On thin ice. Sure. We can crop rotate for a Wasteland. Our opponent's not tapping for large amounts of mana. Solitary Confinement. Okay. Frontal damage will be dealt to you. Lose 1 life. Okay, so that doesn't interfere with that too much. Let's go and get ourselves... I think we just want a Wasteland here. We start Wastelanding our opponent's things. We're going to run out of library though, that's definitely a concern. What do we want here? Expression map, I guess, that's fine. Ghost Quarter, Wasteland. Oh, we can find a Boseiju at some point as well. Need to be a bit careful with our clock though, we're not doing this very quickly. Alright, Wasteland. Let's Ghost Quarter. Ghost Quarter can take out this one. And we've already played our 2 lands, haven't we? So we haven't got any other plays. We can't attack. Well, we can attack, but Solitary Confinement. We'll ignore that. If we get enough cards, I can discard Emrakul and shuffle these lands back in. Solitary Confinement, the 1 ring, is quite the combo. Right, they're shuffling in their library there. So Ghost Quartering our opponent isn't really going to work now. We're just looking for the Boseiju now. And check out the Solitary Confinement and bash our opponent for a bunch. A Destiny Spinner. Okay. Let's get ourselves a Blast Zone. We're going to get Orange Chanted again. Feels like we might. No Boseiju yet. Very annoying. Right, let's play this one out. And we will just jam another Saga here. And then we'll pass. The plan is... What is our plan? Now our opponent's going to be drawing 4 cards with the ring this turn, which is a lot. Our opponent's deck is very sweet though. Might ask them for their list. I think they're going to win this match, whether by timeout or just by actually beating us this game. We tapped horribly here. We just tapped completely wrong there. We could have made the 20/20 and possibly had a win. I don't think it would be enough though. Orange Chant. I'll still Dredge Life from the Loam. We can make a 20/20. My opponent is taking a lot of damage from this ring, but it is drawing them in a lot of cards, so... Boom. Just tap in 1 permanent to draw 5 cards. What a wild ride. I don't think we can win this one. Alright, so we want to tap this land down. We're supposed to do it in their main phase, I think, aren't we? Because they're just going to make it here, aren't they? And we're just going to make one of these guys. Let us make a guy. And then we can pop this. And play this to pump our guys. Get rid of their Solitary Confinement. Go attacks. And bash. Okay, they don't have a Leyline Binding in hand. That's exciting. Alright, our opponent's got to have a pretty mega turn. We've got a lot of permanents we can survive an Emrakul here. Alright, we're seeing some action. Enchantress's Presence. Does our opponent not have enough cards? Going big on that little snow covered there. 1, 2, 3, 4. They got another ring. On thin ice. Sure, that answers one of our guys. The other one is still well, the other two are both still lethal, and our opponent has the one ring that's going to kill them next turn. Have they played a land yet this turn? I honestly don't remember. If they haven't played a land, then they're obviously fishing for a... Okay, so we got there. So now we just need to do that again. I think we're incentivized to try and combo them very quickly here. I don't think we want to grind this game out. We should have a Wasteland instead of this. Do I want to try spheres? What would I be playing them instead of? Tabernacle seems pretty rubbish, actually. I guess that's a sphere. Port's fine. The maze is fine. Canopy, Ghost Quarter. Yeah, I don't think there's anything that we take out here for other spheres. Alright, we can have one sphere. I think we need a hand that goes quick because we've only got 7.5 minutes. I don't think we have time to grind our opponent out because they're ahead on clock. So we're going to mulligan this one, looking for something a bit more backbreaking. What does this hand do? Plays out an expedition map on 1. And then collecting that. This is rubbish. Jeez. This is also pretty rubbish. Going 4. Okay, we'll keep this one going to 4. So, what do we need? 3 cards have got to go. We need to keep Sphere, Loam. If we keep the Wasteland and a green source here, put 3 cards. So we lose the Yavimaya and the Ghost Quarter. And I guess if we want to play this Sphere, we have to give up the Loam, but then what does our hand do if we don't have the Loam? I think we have to keep it like this. Not even convinced Sphere is going to be good here now. Okay, we haven't played any mana acceleration yet, so this is actually okay for us. Let's just get this down. We can start Wastelanding as well soon. And then we can Force of Vigor. That will cost us our Loam though. That's going to get them a basic, I imagine. On thin ice, yep. Right, we're just going to try and Urza Saga our opponent here. And if they give us an opportunity to Force of Vigor stuff, then we'll do that. I think we will Force of Vigor this turn just because our mana's spoken for next turn. Utopia Sprawl. Sure. Like, hitting on the on thin ice here is not great. But... Oh, blue mana. A Flusterstorm. We don't get to pay for this one. That's sad. Well, we've got a land, which means we're allowed to Wasteland this Savannah. And then we can deploy a 2-2. That'll become a 4-4 when it attacks. And that's how we try and win this game. And if this one Urza Saga isn't good enough, then we're going to lose. And that's fine. I accept that. Yep. So now they're going to sort of outclass our Sphere pretty grossly. It will slow them down. So it's not nothing, but it feels awfully close to nothing. There's going to be another Enchantress. Green Sun Zenith, X is 2. Okay. Another Enchantress. They don't even need to fetch really because we're supplying them a green mana with our Yavimaya anyway. Just keep doing the thing that we do. We're going to name Destiny Spinner with a Pithing Needle here. We've got our plan. But now they have so much mana. Alright. Elephant Grass. So we have to pay a bunch of mana if we want to attack our opponent now. It's 2 mana. Yeah. So it's like propaganda, but with cumulative upkeep, and it just says no to black creatures, full stop. We're rapidly running out of time left in this game. In terms of actual time on the round and just our opponent being far and above what we're capable of. Okay, that's a spell we can't cast. We get to attack with one guy. I'm going to yield through the turn, but then we're going to turn off yields if something important happens. There's a lot of mana on our opponent's pool there. Alright, and a second Seraph Sanctum. I think we're going to see a Leyline Binding here. Getting rid of our Pithing Needle. We're going to see a couple of creatures come out our face. And they're probably going to beat us here. We've got 7 enchantments here. Can't even draw something like a blast zone here. I think our opponent's got it. Yeah, I'm just asking my opponent if we can have a thing. We're done with this game. Alright, on to the next round. Our opening hand for round 3 is not filling me with a lot of excitement, to be honest. It's very slow and doesn't really go anything. I think we can do better. I did mention before that the mana base in this deck is not amazing sometimes. Alright, I think this is the best one. This gives us access to a plan at least. Put 2 cards on the bottom. Could max out the mana denial plan. I don't think we're keeping a Mox Diamond. Actually, no, we have to keep the Mox Diamond for the Chrome Mox, don't we? So, I guess we keep the Sphere. So maybe the Dark Depths does have to go. Or we get rid of the crop rotation and just do turn 1 Sphere and then Port and Wasteland our opponent. I'm kind of down for that. A basic island. Alright, Wasteland, maybe not doing the most here. Right, so I think the plan here is play this Mox Diamond, pitch this Wasteland, play this Urza Saga, and then jam this Sphere Resistance into our opponent. And then we can just play an Urza Saga game underneath the Sphere. A Brainstorm, sure. What flavour of basic island Brainstorm deck is our opponent? Are they High Tide? Are they just a controller that just happens to start on their basic? Are they a tempo deck that has one basic that they just happen to start on? We're going to see a Force of Will? Which is definitely a good enough target for a deck. Alright. They're just deciding what to pitch. Lorien Reveal. That doesn't tell us really anything about what our opponent's playing. Okay, they're cycling to get through that Brainstorm that they did on turn 1. They got another basic island. Basic Island, Lorien Reveal, Brainstorm. I am getting these High Tide vibes, you know, which should mash us pretty effectively. I reckon. I think we're better off making a token here than we are trying to crop rotate into anything or port them. So we need to get some damage on the go. So if our opponent is High Tide, there is a small possibility they can go off this turn, but generally they want one more turn to go off. Right, let's make a token. Are we porting or are we just trying to get our opponent dead here? If we take one more turn off before we start porting, we can have a much quicker clock. I think we do just make it here. Like, Dress Down is going to ruin our day in a big way. But High Tide feels like not an unwinnable matchup for lands, but it's very, very low percentage. We've already got a bunch of the things we want here. I guess I'll just get a Shadowspear in case that's going to be the difference between life and death at some point in terms of the amount of damage we can put out. So our opponent might be able to kill us on their turn. If not, we can start porting them. But we get to double our clock by doing that. And I think porting our opponent one turn will slow them down one turn. So that one turn we slow them down, they'll get back by the fact they're not under any pressure. We're kind of just hoping our opponent doesn't have anything going on, which is a bit of a grim way of going about it. Brainstorm, okay. That's not a High Tide. Mystic Sanctuary, what are they going to put back on top? Is it a Brainstorm? Is it Lorien Revealed? Don't think it's going to be forcible. It's just a Brainstorm, sure. So we have a 2-turn clock here. Oh, they might be going right now. Oh dear. You got another High Tide. That makes this line a lot easier. Sapphire Medallion. Alright, we're going to F6 here because we don't have any spells to play. They're snapping one of our guys. It's going to untap some lands. They're going to be casting a Mind's Desire for 4. See what they find. Another High Tide. It's not that exciting right now. Another Mind's Desire. That is very exciting for them. Force of Will. They can Force of Will one of their own spells just to build Storm if they want. Cloud of Fairies is very good too. Yep. So we're going to concede in a second. We're just going to let them do a Mind's Desire and reveal a bit more of their deck. So this isn't deterministic, but it's pretty close to it. So once this Mind's Desire goes off, we'll see a lot of their deck. Are they going to Force Will their own Ponder here for Storm? Or are they just going to try and draw a card that does something? Right, another Sapphire Medallion. Cast this My Desire for 9. Alright, there's so many copies it's off the screen. There's a Time Spiral, that's going to keep them going. Some more My Desires, yep. This is game over. What they're going to do is they're going to play their whole deck and then play Jace, draw a card and win. With the I can't remember what it's called, Jace, the stop you from having a good time Jace, whatever that's called. Alright, Choke is good here. Surgical plays a little bit. Force of Vigor, I don't really fancy that one, to be honest. Sylvan Library is okay, though. We're probably not into Crucibling here. It's a bit slow. Pithing Needle doesn't seem great here. Bojuka Bog is fine. Karakas doesn't do anything. Tabernacle doesn't do anything. Blaststone does a little bit, but not a lot. Wastelands are almost exclusive, almost completely blank here. And we'll take out these 2 swords. Alright, that's what we're rolling with. Surgical Extraction is not good in this matchup, by the way. It's just better than the things we're boarding out that don't do anything. Yeah. A combo deck that doesn't play to the board and only plays basic lands is kind of a nightmare for a lands player. What does this hand do? We can start making Urza's style constructs on turn 2. We've already established that's not good enough, so I think we need to mulligan. Okay. This requires us to find another land. A land that taps for mana, I should add, which is the most abundant thing we have in our deck. I don't think I can keep that though. Alright, we can keep this one. We'll put back a Surgical and a Maze. We should have boarded out another Maze, but whoopsie. We just have too many bad cards in the matchup, right? That's a pretty awkward place to be in. I'm not even seeing a cantrip here, interesting. So probably going to counterspell our Sewer Resistance here. I mean, my guess. So this is going to be a Hymns of Turak rather than a Sewer Resistance. They could just leave this and then bounce it when the time comes. Alright. Yep, that's us getting done. A Sapphire Medallion. I think Force of Vigors would be better than these Maze of Iths. Although still not great, to be honest. Horizon Canopy. Have a green source. What does our green source do? Not a lot. I think we are putting a counter on our Blast Zone and Surgical Extracting. Those are the things available to us right now. A Spell Seeker. It's one of those every day. This is going to go and find them a High Tide, I imagine. Right. We're going to put a counter on our Blast Zone so we can take out a Sapphire Medallion. No, we're just kind of treading water until our opponent kills us here. We can't actually activate our Blast Zone. We could try and dredge life from Loam, but I don't think that's what we want. We want to draw regular cards. Yeah, Blast Zone is 3 to activate. Dark Depths, not tapping for mana here. Not giving us a lot to go on. Brainstorm. Our opponent could win this turn. I hope they don't. But I don't really think we've got any play in this game. Like, if we find a sphere, it's still not amazing. Unless we could blow up the Sapphire Medallion, it's not really going to do a lot. Right, they're going for 1. Can't really crack our land either because we need the mana off of it. If we want to ever crack this Blast Zone. Sphere Resistance. I will cast this spell. This undoes their Sapphire Medallion, but also makes our Blast Zone a bit awkward. But we're kind of just trying to buy more draw steps here because if we play this Sphere Resistance, it might stop our opponent from winning next turn. Even if we don't have much long-term prospects because our Blast Zone will take out their Sapphire Medallion. So it's kind of like a really bad removal spell for a Sapphire Medallion. We can still surgically extract stuff. The medallions mean they can just about win through the old spheres. Also, surgical on High Tide isn't always good enough. I'm supposed to get rid of this High Tide. I don't think that's going to make a difference. Yeah, we're just in trouble here. So if they've got like a snap here, Mystic Sanctuary. What are they going to target here? Putting the Force of Will on top. Like, Force of Will doesn't really do that much in this situation. I don't really know how we're supposed to win this game, if I'm being frank. Kind of just won out of this one. Supposed to let this Mystic Sanctuary resolve first before we search Extract as well. Cloud of Fairies, Time Spiral. Alright. So these Cloud of Fairies can pretty much get them there. But we can just F6 now, let our opponent kill us. So resistance is not bad against Mind's Desire though. Because they are casting the copies of Mind's Desire. Even if they don't pay the mana cost, they still have to pay the additional cost. Alright, we got some more cards we can't do anything with. If our opponent has fizzled, we still don't really get to do anything. Little snap on that guy. More Cloud Fairies, or rather the same one from before. Generates more mana each time. Just casual Lorien Reveal, draw a bunch of cards. And Mind's Desire. Now this is not necessarily going to work quite how they want to, because the Sphere means they still have to pay, I believe. So there's the Jace. Oh, they don't have to pay. I thought they did. Oh, they can Brave Freeze themselves out quite easily here as well. Alright, yeah. We got slaughtered. I think this matchup is pretty close to unwinnable for the poor lands player. Like, we have to try and make like a turn 2 Merit Lage, and our deck's not really kitted out for that. We've only got 2 copies of Dark Depths and 3 copies of Stage, so it's not going to work. Let's go to round 4 and try and find something a bit more in our wheelhouse to play against. Our hand is fine. You can slow our opponent down with a Sphere, or kill one of their creatures with the Plow, and then Life from Loam, Exploration our way into hopefully winning the game. Our opponent is on the play. Wooded Foothills. What flavour of Wooded Foothills are they? Savannah. Expedition map. Okay, we might be on a mirror here, which makes our Sphere of Resistance a lot less exciting. Let's get this down. And let's get a Karakas. Do you want the Karakas down? Let's take a Horizon Canopy. I don't want our Karakas getting Wastelanded right away in case we need it. Our opponent could be on more of like a green-white depth style deck. Like with knights and things, and this might just be a thing from there as a Saga package, the Expedition map. Like it is for ours, really. There's a reasonable amount of overlap. Yep, we Loam in. How do we win this game? Rishadan Port, not the most exciting. If we draw a card, we need to play a land first if we want to do that. So I think we play out this port. Let's draw a card. Play a stage. It's Life from Loam. Alright, we're kind of both in a similar-ish spot. We have the Exploration though. This is kind of the trump card right now. But they have Expedition map to get whatever they want. 2 as a Saga, that's pretty big news. They're laying back their lands as expected. We need a good dredge here, I think. Our opponent is on board and we are not. Okay. If we Thespian stage, copying there as a Saga, they Wasteland our Saga before it ever gets to do anything. So not ideal. Alright, let's... We can tap down their Saga so they don't get to make a guy straight away. So I think we will draw a card. A Yavimaya. That's not really what I want to do because that kind of helps our opponent a little bit. So we'll jam these down. We've already played one of our lands, haven't we? Then our opponent's upkeep. We'll tap down this Saga so that we don't have to worry about a construct for a little bit. Alright, they're cracking the Expedition map. Which could be a long one. Might be 2 o'clock in the morning by the time I finish this league if this game goes as long as I expect it to. We still got another game after this. So apologies if I seem a little tired. Right. Opponent's upkeep. They got Blast Zone. We'll tap down their Saga here. We are showing them we don't have a crop rotation right now. So you get a Blast Zone, take our Exploration, then we're kind of on even footing, except they've got a Saga. Now we can stop the first construct, we can't stop the second. He's going to crack it immediately, I suspect. Yep. Okay. Do we hope they can't answer a Dark Depths? Sure, I think that's our strategy here. Alright. We've done a thing. They've already used their expedition map off of it, so they can't get one off the Saga. We're trying to dodge a source to Plowshares or a Karakas, or a crop rotation for Karakas. You also have to be really careful in this matchup that you don't just hang out a Dark Depths because your opponent's got Thespian stages too. Chosen card is Karakas. Interesting. Why have they named Karakas with Pithing Needle? That's presumably their answer, unless they're somehow going to be playing their own 2020. And then we sphere it, attack once, and then attack again. That's what feels like this play is. Yeah, I've gone for dueling 2020s. Ah, but they have a Shadowspear. I see. Sure, you can have a 2020. I think this plow will be the thing that goes over the top here. Just get rid of this now. 2-turn clock. We don't want to help our opponent out with mana, I don't think, here. Is our life total relevant right now? Okay, I think we go sphere resistance. Just say no to this. Then our opponent's upkeep will tap down their land. And hopefully this will be enough to get us there. Yeah, we got there. Alright. Oh, I thought we were done for. I would like 4 surgical extractions. I would like 3 force of vigors. I would like 2 swords to plowshares. I think that's what we want. This is not a Tabernacle match, at least. I know that much. Pithing Needle is weird because it kind of hits us both. Shadowspear is actively good here. It's probably the spheres that go, even though it did kind of potentially help us win that one. That's not really what it was about. Exploration, crop rotation, all these things are fine. Where are we supposed to make the cuts to fit the rest of this in? That's the real question. I guess if we're boarding in... see, the Ancient Tomb helps us make constructs early on. So we can pressure our opponent if their hand's a little bit slow. Port is useful for stopping them making constructs. Ghost Quarter gives us the potential to maybe strip our opponent down. Are we supposed to leverage Life from the Loam a little bit less and trim there? I think that's probably reasonable. Maybe we can't play all of these things. Maybe we're just not playing all these plows. Maybe we just have one Maze of Ith. Because obviously, if they have a 2020, we're going to want a Maze of Ith. Our hand doesn't actually do anything. I think we can do better. Exploration Life of the Loam is kind of a key part of how I'd like to play this game, so we will keep this. And we'll put one of these Mox Diamonds away. I guess we could have put the swords away, but if our opponent's just got a race to 2020 hand, we want to be able to answer that. Yavimaya, Cradle of Growth, interesting. Just say no to this. They're going to crop rotate? No, okay. Play this, pitching, Horizon Canopy, Caster's Exploration. Alright, we are quite far ahead now. We get to Wasteland lock our opponent, potentially. A Mox Diamond. Alright, can't Wasteland that one. No land from our opponent. Let's get these 2 back here. Caster's Exploration. Interesting. They're going to surgically extract our thing. Sure. Awkward, but I guess we can live with it. If we find a Crucible, we can do Crucible things. Alright, so we're going to need to find a little bit more help here. We've got a lot of time up on our opponent, but we need to find an answer. Our opponent might have a Wasteland that they're sandbagging. We have our own surgical now. I would like to draw a card, please. Okay, that's quite the hand I have there. Okay, we can surgically extract things. I hope our opponent does a life from a loam at some point and we save extract all 3 of their targets. That would amuse me a great deal. So I'm going to get their basic forest here. Oh, is that what's about to happen? Life from a loam, targeting dark depths. I'm going to nail their dark depths here. The plan here is to remove all of our opponent's win conditions from the game. You've got endurance here. Are they going to get more endurances, or is it just the 1 endurance? Just the 1 endurance. And 2 Urza Saga. And they got 1 more endurance here. Yeah, okay. So they got 2 endurance and 2 Urza Saga left to win the game with. We know their hand doesn't make the mana to cast Life from the Loam. We can Bojuka Bog if we want to. Let's get rid of their Urza Sagas. Flashing in and endurance. What would you like to do with your endurance? I'm going to target themselves here and shuffle their endurance back in. I got Windswept Heath there. They can crack this and then start doing. Will they pitch this? They did pitch the Loam. But they got another Loam. Sure, this is fine. You can have that 1 thing back. And then we can just get rid of that Loam. Although I kind of want to get rid of the Urza Saga because then they basically can't win. Alright, this is A-okay with me. Goodbye, opponents. Okay, so they got Maze of Ith, Windswept Heath, and a mystery card, I think. Is that true? Is it a mystery card? A Thespian stage. Okay. That doesn't make Dark Depths unless we have a Dark Depths. Right, here is our Thespian stage. They're copying their forest. I don't think I want to Ghost Quarter that. I don't think we want to get an Urza Saga because our opponent can copy it. I guess we'll play out Yavimaya though. We're just looking to draw into the Crucible ideally. But we've got more time than our opponent on the round, so it's going to be a bit of a grind. Right, our opponent has a Wasteland now. That's pretty good. A Dark Depths. Yikes. Casting that is a bit of a doozy. They have a lot of ways of messing with us if we play this. I think we're just going to pass. We don't want them to make a 20/20 off of our own thing after so much effort to try and deal with their win conditions. Alright, they have an Urza Saga. Let's crop rotate away. We will get a Wasteland here. Then our Thespian stage will copy our opponent's Wasteland, is that right? Whatever we copy with this is immediately going to fire off their Wasteland. If we Wasteland this, they're just going to Saga it away. Yikes, what am I supposed to do here? Let's take this out. So they're going to copy this with Thespian stage. Okay. So now what are we doing? We don't have enough mana to do all the things I want to do. Awkward. I guess the play here is play Dark Depths, crop rotate away the Dark Depths for a Ghost Quarter. Get rid of their Urza Saga. They've already got their forest. And then in our opponent's upkeep, in our opponent's draw step, we're going to extract the Saga. Maybe we're not supposed to pay the life there, but I kind of like keeping up the plows. Alright, so our opponent has 2 win conditions and they are 2 endurances. Alright. Yeah, we'll take this. Rishadan Port. Okay, that's kind of interesting. We can tap down the Wasteland and do a Dark Depths line at some point. A Soul Guide Lantern. Are they going to remove our Dark Depths by any chance? I'm going to remove our Wasteland, sure. There's Maze of Ith. Tap down their Wasteland. And now we can make our stage into a basic. Targeting the port, sure. Right, so now we have the Thespian stage with the basic type. Our opponent does have a Ghost Quarter there. So they can Ghost Quarter away. So if we draw another Source to Plowshares, then we win this match. Our opponent should probably scoop it up at some point, because we know they've got 2 cards that can physically win the game left in their deck. Okay, let's play our own Urza Saga here. If our opponent tries to Ghost Quarter this, we can copy it with Stage. Otherwise, we're just going to make some guys. Expiration is fine. Shrink this plow down. Did I miss something? Force of Vigor on... Okay, so this means that if we try and copy it, we don't get anything. So we're going to draw a card off of our Soul Guide Lantern. Alright. We've drawn another Saga. Right, we put our opponent in the same position as last turn. Go basic forest and pass. So our opponent might well have a Wasteland that can just take out our Thespian stage here. Right. Well, they obviously didn't when they only had the 1 card in hand, but it's a line that they're playing towards, perhaps. Horizon Canopy, that's going to be an immediate redraw, I suspect. We're going to see another Force of Vigor. Force of Vigor on 2 of our things, yep. Need to make sure we don't time out. We've got nearly 4 minutes up on our opponent. Blast Zone, is that a thing we care about right now? Not really. If we put this on 3, it can take out the 1 thing in their deck that can win the game. Like, Thespian stage can technically win the game. There's a Thespian stage, there's a Wasteland. I'm just going to save this up for when the time comes. Alright. Like, the fact that we have Source to Plowshares means we only have to answer each endurance once. They would like a basic forest. Sure. So we're incentivized to not play as the Sagas now. As weird as that is. We should have added a cap to our Blast Zone, but just relatively quick here. Sure, we'll just pass it over. Second Yavimaya from our opponent there. Our Blast Zone can kill endurance now. Alright, we'll play Savannah and pass. If we hit a Crucible, then we are laughing. Until it gets blown up by a Force of Vigor. Life from the Loam. Sure. Let's start going to town on our lands here. So they have to blow up all of our white sources. And then kill us with an endurance. We're not in the stage yet where we need to play a Mox Diamond. We'll save that until we need to do a plow later on, most likely. Tabernacle. I'm from Loam, getting back some things. Sure. Goodbye, Maze of Ith. Goodbye, Savannah. Let's just blow up some of their stuff. A Wasteland of our very own. Does this matter? No. Our opponent is getting close to decking before us, but they have 2 endurances, so they can recycle their whole deck. What a silly game. What do we have in our deck at this point? Do we have any more fetchables? We do not. The only white source we have are Mox Diamonds now. A Crucible of Worlds. So what we're going to do here is play a Wasteland. Wasteland our Bojuka Bog. And Bojuka Bog their graveyard. Got a crop rotation here. They're Boseijuing our Crucible. That's pretty annoying. Our plan remains as it ever was. Hold on to Mox Diamond till we need to kill an endurance. We're going to pop out our opponent's graveyard here. That's going to be more important. There's no endurances exiled yet. Alright, we have the mana for 2 Source to Plowshares available. I think we have 3 Source to Plowshares in our deck total. 2 Source to Plowshares. We haven't played one of them yet. So in theory, as long as our deck comes out in roughly an expedient order, we should be okay. Our opponent still has to win another game after this. Sure, you can play an Exploration. Turbo Ghost Quarter me. We're just going to save this so we've got lands for our Mox Diamonds. I do not believe our opponent has any Spheres of Resistance in their deck. Pithing Needle. Sure. What would you like to name? Windswept Heath. Joke's on you, I've got no vegetables. Sure. As soon as we draw the second Source to Plowshares, it should be game over. We can't play this as a Saga because it gives our opponent a win condition. Endurance? Sure. Oh, they've milled their other endurance. This poor little guy's got to go all the way. What a ridiculous game. This should be our opponent's last win condition. I didn't screen cap their deck, but I'm pretty sure that's what I checked for earlier, and that was the thing I was looking at. So let's play this. Pitch his Wasteland. Plow this creature. And that should be the game. I think our opponent is just checking it. Really weird game. Yeah, like our opponent says, you can't win unless we play a Saga, and we didn't. So this is not necessarily how I'd normally think you'd approach this matchup, but when we had the abundance of surgicals, it just felt like that's what we were doing. All right, very silly game. Let's go to the final round. What are we, like 3-1 now? 2-2. 2-2. Okay, let's go to the final round. We're into the final round. Our hand does a turn 1 life from the Loam and plays Expedition Map. That seems fine to me. We're going to need to find something, but Expedition Map is literally a thing that we can find. It's anything we want was. Right. Can I have a Mox Diamond? Can I have another Mox Diamond? Life from the Loam is 2 lands back. And then we'll play a Rishadan Port. And we'll play an Expedition Map. Not a bad first turn. Felt almost like a combo deck. But now we have to rely on our Life from Loam to do its job. Like, we still have the Expedition Maps. We can go and find like a Saga if we want to and just get that ticking. Chrome Mox. Okay, if our opponent's some sort of Storm combo deck, then our start is just going to get absolutely bodied here. A Fury. Okay, so we're looking at initiative. Fable and Mirror Break is not so terrible for us. Okay, pop our graveyard out here. Let's dredge this, see if we find... We did not find anything useful. Okay, so let's crack this. Let's get ourselves an Urza Saga, I think. That's probably the best way that we can make inroads into this game. Play the Saga. And we can port our opponent in their upkeep. Take them off of City of Traitors. Hopefully that will be enough to stop our opponent from having a good time. The initiative is quite difficult for lands to play against. Like, if we have like an early super stompy Urza Saga type affair, then I'm sure. But otherwise we're just struggling. Just a Chaos Adventure right in our chops. At least I don't think this round's going to be that long, so maybe I can get to bed before 2 o'clock. I've got 15 minutes. Let's see if we can do it. Let's dredge this life from the Loam. A Wasteland is not unhelpful. But we only get to play 1 land this turn. So we have this 2 mana, and this makes us a thing, and then we can tap this down to stop our opponent from being able to play anything else to the board. And then hope that our Urza Saga does enough. No, we're going to take a pound in here for sure. But we have a Shadowspear. We do have to cast our Shadowspear though. That was a weird play in my opinion. Because we're going to make a 3/3 guy now. I guess they really wanted the treasure here. Block this rather than the Caves of Chaos Adventurer. We want to keep our guys big. 3 mana. 3 mana. A post-combat Rabble Master. Interesting. Okay, I'd like to draw a land here. We did draw a land. Okay, so this taps for this and this. And then what are we going to get here? We could get a Mox Diamond instead of this land. We could get a Pithing Needle and put it on Reflection of Kiki Jiki Day. That seems pretty good. We play our land. Play our Shadowspear. Equip the Shadowspear to our friend. And start bashing. Just gets us our basic forest, which is already in the graveyard. Okay. Doesn't get us anything. Okay. We've assembled some large boys. Our opponent might just be mono red prison here, rather than initiative. Alright, which of your guys is attacking? So we can gobble up the Caves of Chaos Adventurer here. They revealed a Blood Moon. Understood. Well, our plan is to win with the things we have on board right now. So they get to go into the stash here. They could goad our guy if they want to try and push more damage. I don't think they'll do that though. because lifelink is pretty big news. Like, we have lethal damage on board, so I need to play a creature here. That is a creature. Another Urza Saga. Bash. And then I think we will get back some lands. This and this. And then we'll port our opponent down in their upkeep. Who's the prison now? So if we connect with a single point of damage, we'll go into the trap room and dome our opponent. So they need to have a lot of power, a lot of toughness to block our construct. Maybe we've squirmed our way to a victory there. All right, sideboard. I would like some Swords to Plowshares and some Force of Vigors. I'm not convinced we want to be playing Sphere of Resistance in this matchup. And we do not need a Bojuka Bog in that. Other things seem pretty reasonable. Pithing Needle's got targets. Saga Lantern probably isn't great, but what would we play instead? I guess the Sylvan Library, that makes a lot of sense. And Karakas. They might have the 3-mana haste creature that's a legend, so I'd rather keep the Karakas in just in case. And, you know, it's still a land, so we can throw it off to stuff or whatever. So we need one more cut to play this other Sylvan Library. Now, paying a lot of life for Sylvan Library is bad, but we can just draw 3 and take the best one, and that seems fine to me. There is an argument for Null Rod, but I don't like it. Like, it's good against their treasures and things, but I don't think the matchup's really up about that for the most part. I'm definitely not taking out any green cards, because we need to pitch some cards to this old Force of Vigor at some point, I imagine. Having the Turbo Dark Depths combo is very strong. Tabernacle is fine. Wasteland is pretty good here too. Huh, it's a tough choice what the last card that comes out should be, really. It's like one port, or I don't like the Saga is obviously bad under Blood Moon, but it's also our best threat. So I don't think we can get rid of that one. I'll get rid of Savannah's. Maybe one Ancient Tomb can go here. That does make our Urza Saga start slightly slower though. Potentially. We kill their first guy, we wasteland all their things, and then we somehow profit from that. Okay. I'm going to try this. I don't think it's where I want to be, but okay. Leyline of the Void. Hopefully their hand's not great because they were doing all Leyline of the Void stuff, but we're just going to get turn 1 Rabble Mastered. War Boss. Like Rabble Master, but worse. It's fine. Right, we're going to pitch our Karakas to the Mox Diamond here. Oh, interesting. Let's plow this. Let's wasteland our opponent off of Ancient Tomb and hope that that strands a bunch of cards in their hand. And then we can just play Urza Saga game and hope that's good enough. Oh wow, were they on Leyline of the Void? Legion War Boss as their hand. I know they've got a City of Traitors there. Which I will 100% wasteland here. I will use my life tail as a resource. Alright, they didn't have another follow-up land. Excellent. Jam a Sylvan Library. Boom. Alright. Seeing additional cards. We're making constructs. Things are certainly coming up Millhouse. Dark Depths. Sure, we'll use this library. We don't really want this Saga, so this can go on top of our library. This ley line. We want this Dark Depths and go on top as well for now. And this is going to tick up. Then we're going to play Yavimaya. As good as anything here. And now we have the biggest threat on the board. We get to shuffle away that Life from Loam doesn't do anything as well. Making a guy. Untapping. Making a guy. Yes, we'll use Sylvan Library's ability. We'll put this on top of our library. We'll have a Dark Depths for an expiration. Probably a Dark Depths here, because we already have the Mox. Just get Shadowspear here. Start doing the things we want to do. Play this. Play this out. Pitch this. Equip this. This feels like pretty GG's to me. Power of Wasteland compelled me. Alright, we're going to Wasteland that. Because of course we are. No lands allowed on the other side of the battlefield. A Fury. What is the purpose of this Fury unless they have 2 Furies? There must be double Fury here. Wowzers, trousers. What are they bought in? Anything interesting? No, just a bunch of good red cards that they couldn't play. Alright. That was like 4 for a third of my card, is what the maths works out on that one. Yes, I'd like to use my really cool card that jams my opponent up. I don't really want the Ghost Court right now. I can go on top. I can go on top. Yeah, that's doing its thing. Okay, let's Rishadan Port. I guess we can port it. Alright, they've had enough. So we finished with a 3-2 there, and it's just turned 2 o'clock, which means it's just gone back to 1 o'clock because the clocks have just changed in the UK right now. So I guess we finished at 1, but it's actually 2 for me. Anyway, we did manage to get there. So the 3-2, deck felt alright. Let's have a quick chat about it. So we got annihilated by High Tide. We just couldn't really play a viable game versus High Tide. And that's kind of just what's going to happen. Like, if we make turn 2 Marit Lage, we stand a chance. We tried to fish for a decent hand, but the truth is, that is a matchup that's just going to ruin us. I'm trying to remember what the other matchup we lost to was, but it's been a very long league and I'm pretty tired, and it's kind of escaping me right now. Nevertheless, I think we showcased what lands does pretty good, and we had a really weird mirror match, which is always fun. But the particular construction of this deck, I don't know how I feel about it. Like, Sphere of Resistance is obviously, you know, it's great against all these Beseech the Mirror decks and things. So I can certainly see it being useful. But it's like a relatively big business slot, and sometimes you'll keep a hand and the Sphere of Resistance will have to do stuff. And if it doesn't really do that much, then you're kind of ruined. Oh, I just remember the other deck we lost to actually was Enchantress, wasn't it? Which is not a deck you see very often. And it looked really good, that Enchantress list. I'm going to see if I can find the list and have a go with it, because that looked really strong. But like, Sphere obviously didn't do anything against them. We couldn't really blow up that many of their things because they just had so many. We can't really interact with their little guys very easily because they have Shroud. So the matchups we lost were pretty understandable, and then we won all the other ones. So yeah, like, I think the deck's fine. You know, it's pretty landsy. I think I preferred sort of playing black lands, like black-green lands is probably my personal preference, because I really like having the Entomb package in a deck. Now, obviously, leaning more into the graveyard can be a bit risky when people are boarding in graveyard hit against you. But having an Entomb package with things like a Dark Blast, as well as being able to find your Loams and like a Worm Harvest, so you've got like another threat that you can sort of do things with. I think that's what I personally prefer. I don't necessarily think it's better than what we're doing here. I think the Swords to Plowshares in this deck are what really make it tick and feel really strong. But yeah, we made some tokens. We beat down some people. We got a win with Marit Lage, so you know I'm happy about that one. So not much else to say about this one. So I hope all these people in my comments who've been requesting lands for the last couple of weeks are happy now. I've played the most stock land build that you can probably play right now, I would say, is this. So hope you enjoyed this one. Remember to like and subscribe. Thank you again so much for the support. It really helps the channel out, and you know, it makes me feel good about myself and good about the legacy format, that people are really interested in it, because it is the best way to play Magic. Alright, I am done now and I'm going to bed, so thank you very much for watching and goodbye.